We also have a session on ideating for the WEF agenda, the World Economic Forum agenda, because that's also a very important tool for, spotlighting yourself as a shaper, creating thought leadership, and defining yourself as a leader in whatever space you choose to lead in. So we feel that shapers should learn about these things, but we didn't stop there. We also thought it was important to have a session on design thinking, because a lot of us in this room today are project leads in different capacities. We are developing one idea or the other. We are working on various processes, programs, projects, and we need to be able to do so effectively and efficiently. And we have a brilliant speaker who will be taking that today. She is from Namibia. She is a friend of the GSC community, particularly the hub in Namibia, the Windhoek hub, and that's Sholakwe walking behind me. So we're very glad that everybody was able to come in today, and we're looking forward to a very interesting and interactive, most importantly, interactive session. So please feel free to ask questions. Please feel free to engage, and let's make this very fun and relaxed. We're all cool people, so no need to feel like this is a lecture or anything. We're just here to sharpen each other as iron sharpens iron. So thank you once again for joining. And on that note, I would like to introduce our first speaker. Our first speaker is someone who needs no introduction really in our GSC community. He is a brilliant lawyer, human rights lawyer, AI guru. I mean, the list really goes on, but the most important thing for us is that Jake has been a very integral part of the Abuja Global Shapers, but also the GSC community at large. He's one of those people who, though he has now transitioned into alumni status, he has always made himself available whenever we call. Even today, he has another speaking engagement. He's in New York, so he's 5 hours ahead, and he actually, behind, and he had to take his laptop to the event just so he can be with us today. Jake, I don't know how we'll thank you, but every time I come to you, I keep singing for you. We have come again. And we thank you for not complaining. So on that note, we'll hand over to you. Jake was a former curator as well, I must add, former curator of the Abuja Global Shapers. He has held many roles at GSC level as well. And he's going to be talking to us about how to utilize Toplink, because he has done so fantastically to leverage the community for greater impact in the work that he does. So Jake, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chimdi. Good to see you, Elzine, and everyone, Princess, and everyone here. It's such an honor always to join you guys, whether virtually, in person, and all. I'm back to Toronto in Canada, but I have an event here in a couple of hours. In fact, Ife is going to be here. Doris hopefully is going to join here as well. So there's a mini Global Shapers side gig with a few shapers who are non-Abuja shapers that would also come and join us. But yes, I would love to speak around Toplink. So I will call my presentation like a little hack on, as a global shaper, how do you leverage Toplink and other resources? I have a slide. Let me see if I could share that. And if you can give me permission to share, that would be great. Oh, hold on.
We've granted you all permission already, so all of you speakers are co-hosts, so feel free to go ahead and share.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Fantastic. Just 1 minute. Why is it not showing slide? Share. Okay, fantastic. Please, could you let me know if you can see my slides?
We can see your slides.
Okay, great. So it's just a quick hack. One would be navigating Toplink. The other would be looking at apps and digital resources as a global shaper. Again, I would focus on A, which is navigating Toplink, but I'll just breeze through other digital resources like strategic intelligence and some of the other good things that would help you as a global shaper moving on. So we can start with Toplink. So Toplink is the World Economic Forum's melting pot of literally everything. I would say it's very, very important for you to have your Toplink profile, because when people search for you, it is most likely the first 3 or 4 things that would show up. And you know why? Because the World Economic Forum optimizes search results of its people. So you won't even see my own law firm profile of me or my university profile of me. My profile on the WEF agenda would show up absolutely immediately. So take time, think about how you want to be referenced, write in third person, make sure you construct how you want your top link to be. Don't just write anything as per this is World Economic Forum or not. Think about it as if somebody was to find out anything about you, think about it as your wiki page, really. So you want to take time, go to your top link, review information, and also update the information as things change. You can connect to an event. So one thing I've also done is I have a reminder every week where I just maybe on Sundays, I don't do it every week anymore, but maybe like once a month, you want to look through all the events or projects. I see that today, David Ebube had already posted something about today's event. I also saw that Ifeanyi too had, there's an engagement there. You want to link your top link to remind you via email. It's a feature you can turn on and turn off. We'll go through it in like in a moment. And then, we can talk about how you can maximize your post on top link, ensuring that you tag the appropriate people, ensuring that the audience you're reaching out as well is not just generally on your wall. You want to if you want to reach the Nigerian community, there are tags you can use. If you want specific climate communities too, there are tags you can use and all. But also Toplink is good at navigating all kinds of libraries, groups, initiatives, and organizations. For example, how many years ago now? Was it 4 years ago? I started Shape Pride with a couple of shapers, and there is a Shape Pride group. Same thing with climate, same thing with environment. You find a couple of organizations and initiatives you might want to tag on and all. And then, of course, we can go about reviewing your Toplink profile. So maybe you quickly let's do it together. Can you see okay, let me see. Let me share my browsing screen. Okay. Let me just share my screen so we can go through it together, just in case anybody. Okay, sorry for the current view. Me and my whatever. Anyway, so let's do Toplink. Boom. It might ask me to log in. All right. So normally when you do this, you would always find that Toplink would optimize your, what is current. So it shows you that there's human capital for tomorrow's economy, whatever. You see pending actions. There will be actions there, whether or not you use Toplink, there will be actions there that show current events, things you need to look at. It's important that even when you register for events, those at the World Economic Forum on the back end can see your engagement, so you can view, you can dismiss any pending actions. You can also arrange your meetings. So even if there's for example, when Princess went to the annual meeting of New Champions, I was jealous. I said, let me know what Princess is doing in that annual meeting. You can add it as a meeting event, and then it would notify you what sessions are coming up. So Toplink is not just a LinkedIn profile that WEF uses. It's actually a community of its own. But you must engage with it. You must explore what meetings and the rest. And like I said, there are publications here. If you type in again, let me open another one on strategic intelligence. So here is the knowledge hub of the forum as well. They are both linked. So you find that some articles here would take you to the strategic intelligence. You can actually search for any key area. Boom. Is there a reason why AI is showing the first page? Obviously, this is my area, but I'm guessing this is also one of the key areas. You can do a horizon scan. So even if you're a researcher, even if you're doing a project of the hub, right? If you're doing a project, say, on environment or climate or improving equity and all, it's important that you go on here to see what are the current trends within the community. It's important that even when you're making your communication, you link it. Instead of saying, Abuja Global Shapers have come again to plant 6 trees, you can say, over the course of 5 years, 16 hubs of the World Economic Forum or the GSC community have engaged in tree planting projects. We are continuing this drive specifically in Abuja to do XYZ. That gives it more a robust sort of appeal. Even when you post on Toplink, you can link those hubs. They will connect with you as well. It shows a much broader frame. All of this is accessible to you for free as a global shaper. You will not realize that these resources are free till you have now alumni. They've now blocked you. You cannot join again. You now say, hey, I had this link or I didn't do anything with it, before. So back to Toplink, there, you can access events here. You can also have messages. Hey, let me open my message. Anyway, so you can message literally people who are even outside the Global Shapers community. You have people who are young global leaders, people who are CEOs who attend meetings. Toplink is where you can actually link up with them and say, hey, I saw something you posted, I want to connect with you. It's easier to do it that way. If you're going for a WEF event, instead of waiting to see the person and say, excuse me, I'm a fan of yours, I wanted to Toplink them. Some of these Toplink messages are linked to their direct emails, or sometimes their secretaries actually look at it very often. So you see, it's not only a knowledge hub, it's literally everything that you want to access in terms of knowledge, in terms of connection, and the rest of that. I'm just doing you a small overview, but there's no need to teach anybody anything here. The more you play with Toplink, the more you just scan through, take your time through it, the better for you. Yes, it's good to post on your own social media, but it's also good to always make sure that you post here on Toplink. Lastly, events that you mark would always come to the left. You see, well, I've attended the annual meeting of New Champions twice, so I'm sure maybe that's why it's also optimized here. But initiatives that you're part of, I'm part of Shaping Disability, I'm part of Shape Pride, I'm part of the Abuja Tree Planting Project. So you see, it's also optimized for the initiatives that are like very just for your own specific interest. Same thing with your interest. Hello, these are the only things I'm interested in: AI, human rights, and justice and the law. So, the more I see Ifeanyi uses Toplink a lot, Princess uses Toplink a lot, Chimdi does as well, David does as well. So you always find that, you see, their posts are also here. I don't know who this person is, but they're doing the most. So you see, it's like your own feed. You can explain, you can explore, you can connect. I've met really amazing people, CEOs, via just chatting with them on Toplink. They respect you more when they know that you are part of the community. So I can go on and on, but I don't want to like bore you. You obviously all have the capacity to breeze through all of this. I'll go back to my presentation now and then round up in case any of you have any questions. So that's pretty much navigating Toplink. Let me maybe I should look at my profile just to give you an idea. My profile is not, I have like 2 or 3 profiles that I could give you as these are the good ones, but I forgot to ask them if I could share, but let me use mine because their own inspired me as well. Let me use mine. Just 1 minute. I will share. Okay, let me stop sharing. Let me share this. So you see, it's the first thing that comes up. Boom. So this you can't change. It will show your status as a global shaper. If you don't want it to show global shaper, if you want it to show your employer, like your current job and all, because some of you, your job is not as profound as your status as Abuja Global Shaper. So you might want to leave your Abuja Global Shaper there. But if you know that you have like big name behind you, like Chimdi, you can include that. So always make sure that you have that represented, or you can have both. You can have Abuja Global Shaper and, if you're a curator, it will be there, deputy curator will be there as well. So the way the profile works is, so below you'll find articles I've written. So if you're, weapons powered by AI, how we planted 5,000 trees in the Abuja hub, me and my NSAS anger when I couldn't join because I was far away, but I wrote about it. And of course, some of the work I've done when it comes to Shape Pride. But your profile should definitely cover 3 things. One is your academic background. What is your, and please feel free to boast, not boast like, again, write in 3rd person, but feel free to cover your academic qualifications. Secondly, your area of expertise. When you're applying for any of these events, aside your groundbreaking 1 minute, 2 minute video, this is the second thing that is most important. So you want to cover if you've achieved several awards, if you've, so your background, your academic qualification. Secondly, what you've done in the last decade. I always tell people, always think of a decade, what you've done in the last decade, projects, awards you've won, and then also tie something to the World Economic Forum. If you're part of a climate reality, you're part of a equity and inclusion steering committee, you're a curator, project you're leading in the hub, include that. And then at the end of the day, you can also add other things you're looking forward to, key areas that you want to partner. The last thing I would say on this is that the words you use here can also be searchable. So within the Toplink community, if I search equity, global shapers who have written or have their profiles in that tandem would actually reflect in the search as well. So you might want to sort of look at that. So I will run through the remaining parts of
just your art class with it. It's not like a liking or anything.
Sorry, I don't know if someone's this thing was there. Okay. Was that from me or?
Someone was unmuted, but it's fine now.
Okay. Was I sharing? Could you guys see my Toplink profile?
Yes.
Okay. So this is pretty much on Toplink. The other apps and digital resources you want to be familiar with is strategic intelligence, which helps you with research and information. The Toplink mobile on my phone, I could show you, very important. It works. The API is just brilliant and it works really well, you know, when you're on the move. There are also other apps and digital resources. Please sync your calendar to your Toplink app. It really does a really good one. Which other hub publishes more than the Abuja Global Shapers community? Anyways, you guys are the top publishers. Princess and all of you can give literally a talk on this one. The reason why I'm so happy to say this is when I joined as a global shaper, at some point, I was like maybe the only one publishing on the forum agenda, and I kept pushing and pushing, and I'm happy that other people have chimed in. But if you look through the qualities of the powerful forum agenda post, look for something timely, something that relates to your expertise or background, keep it short and simple, be creative, and try to educate. Don't try to impress. Don't use big, big words and be using, you know, suppose should in case, even if perhaps it's not an argument, it's not an activist platform. You want to make sure you inform, you're educative, you keep it simple, keep it short, and of course, something that works within your area of expertise. There are a couple of writing guidelines, and it's always important that you use the hub as a brainstorming platform where you can ask hub members, hey, what can I post on? You can collaborate. Myself and Murtala, we collaborated on writing the tree planting post. The more people you get on, like the better. Think about joining an advisory council or steering committee if you have the time. I know Chimdi was talking about writing to your employers to say you're a global shaper now and these are your commitments, but it's important that as a global shaper, there's so many opportunities that are open for you. For example, last year, I was part of the Global Future Council on Frontier Risks. As old as I am, I was the youngest person there because everybody there was like a vice chancellor or president of a country or something. And I mean, I didn't have the guts to even contribute to any of the meetings, but just sitting there and listening and taking notes from these people, super important. They always have 1 seat or 2 seats for global shapers. Apply. Don't think you're not qualified enough. Last time, what would they tell you? We don't want you, but at least you apply, you get your position in. Steering committees are also good. It's a lot of work, a lot of drafting, but I've been part of the EDI committee, really huge blessing. So really good, helps you in terms of your job prospects and all. We can talk about tips for applying for WEF events, know the various forum events, apply for the ones that matter. We can talk about tips on creating a profiling 1 minute, a compelling 1 minute video. Again, keep it short, write a script, rehearse. Don't try to impress with fine clothes, shiny background, or like blistering lights. Just try to have a conversation with a friend and think about how you shorten it in 1 minute. Reduce the ums and ahs and the ahs and, you know, just scripting is really, really good. And then, of course, when you want to maximize your WEF experience, think of what Princess did, events, like you looking up, looking sharp, and representing your community would always make you proud. So that's pretty much my presentation. If you have any questions, anything at all, please let me know, and I'll be happy to provide that.
What? Thank you so much, Jake. That was spot on, as usual. Thank you for always delivering. So I know you have to go for another meeting. Would you like us to take your questions now so you can log off, or you're muted? You're muted.
Sorry, if my other presenters don't mind. Sorry, I have an event. I'm actually at the event venue, as you can see.
You said so.
If you don't mind, maybe just give me 5 minutes to my co-presenters if I can take any questions, if any, and then if you guys can forge ahead, please.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So I believe it's fine with you, Princess and Elzine. If there are no objections, we'll just open up the floor. Does anyone have any questions with regards to Jake's presentation on how to, maximize Toplink and other opportunities within the GSC community? Any questions from here? None from here for now. Any questions from the folks online?
You could type them in the
You can also type in the chat box if you're shy. Oh, Luke has a question. Yes, Luke, do you want to come up, or I can't pass the computer? Okay, so Luke has a question. He's coming up to the stage. Drama queens, come to this side. Okay. So
Yeah, hi Jake.
Hi, Luke.
Sure. Thanks a lot for your presentation. Straight to the point. So I wanted to know, from experience, what's the typical time frame you've just emailed someone or sent someone a message on Toplink and got a response first? And what kind of message do you know? Could you group them or classify them? Just batch them. Did you ask for work opportunities, schooling opportunities, or just wanted their insight into something? Like, could you just batch the different kind of questions you've asked, or let's say shots you've shot, and how long to respond to you typically?
Yeah. I would say response on Toplink is usually very fast, faster than email, because they think once you're coming with the WEF credibility anyway, so they know, oh, this person is obviously high value. Always remember that as a global shapers community, you are the lowest ranking of the entire WEF. Not like there's a rank, but like you're the youngest, you're the smallest, you're the one getting these things for free. YGLs and other communities are very high level. So they don't realize, they just take you as, oh, expert is messaging me, I must respond. I'll give a typical example. When I organized the first Shape Pride, I needed to bring big dignitaries across the world to joining on the first LGBTQIA and all allies joining to support the first digital pride ever within the within GST. And I reached out to Gina Rosiro, whom I would have spent maybe $500,000 to invite to speak, but like just the inbox, hey, come talk and everything. I invited up to 3 or 4 YGLs and they showed up. One of them even said, you know what, it's not even me you should be reach out to XYZ. So you're free to ask literally anything. But again, keep it professional and no need for the long emails, no need for the, hello, my name is this, I'm a Nigerian. Just say, hi, would you be interested in partnering with me on that? Simple. Hello, we have an event coming up. Would you mind speaking at one of the events? Boom. Straight up to the point. The Toplink is for, like, again, top link. So think about linking them up. Can I speak with you on this? Can I ask you for this? Go straight to the point. Yeah. And then, but keep it professional as well. Don't do personal, all this, like, that was a nice outfit you wore, that session is unnecessary, right? Like, keep it short, keep it simple, ask for anything, go bold, go all out. These people are really willing and happy to help you, really. So just saying, hey, Gina, we have an event coming up. We would like you to be the keynote speaker. Would you be available to do that? She goes, hey, here's my number of my PA. I want to do this. Talk to my managers. I'm on. Send her the date. Can I have it? So once you have that connection on Toplink, the rest is, the rest is history. Okay. Last thing I would say, if there are no other questions, is make it a point of duty to be periodic. Sorry, go ahead with your question.
No, there are more questions.
Okay, go ahead.
You can finish your point so you don't.
Yeah,
I'll make the point is, make it a point of duty to post on Toplink periodically, maybe once a week, once a month. Think about what you've done within the community in the last month. Was there an event, a connect event? Was it something that you liked? Was there a speaker that spoke about something? Just do a review every month and then post on it. Post on your wall. Tag those people, tag those communities. It's very good. Lack of, if you're more engaged on Toplink, chances are the community, the World Economic Forum knows that you're part of the community and they see that they can invite. Don't do it because you want them to invite you. Do it because you're part of the community and you want to be alive there. Yeah. I learned it late, but it does provide a lot of value.
Thank you.
You sort of just responded to my question already. It was going to be also what kind of writings or rants, more like from experience as well. Has there been an article or a piece that was taken down because it was too honest?
So yeah, Toplink is not, don't like I said, do not be activist on Toplink. Don't say this is why they're putting us in our country, we cannot breathe, right? Just kidding. Like you want to use Toplink to show what you're doing that will be of interest of the community. So let's say something you're doing personally on any of the impact areas, right?
Okay.
You want to be able to like put that on top. Because if I was looking for a partner and I open your page and I see that, oh, this guy does a lot on climate. See him talking about tree planting here, picking up trash here. Oh, digital economy. Oh, energy transition. This is the guy for it. So I would see your timeline and just get what it is. So you can post your maybe something you did in Nigeria that's of personal value to you, but it relates to some of the impact areas. That's great. An event you attended, somebody said something in the session. In fact, it would be ludicrous to attend the World Economic Forum meeting and not see engagement on Toplink that you cannot respond to, right? Even if you take a picture with somebody or Global Shapers here, post it on Toplink. Yes, you can post it on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and all, but you just do it on Toplink as well because it's like a library, for that resource. That is also what people look at when they're thinking of inviting you to join some of these high committees, right? So when I joined the Global Future on Frontier Risks, I'm not a risk evaluator or risk expert. So even when they told me, I said, I don't think I'm qualified. And she goes, no. I've seen your Toplink. You've talked about AI, you talked about this. Come on, we need your perspective here. And I was like, okay, if you choose me, boom, I'm in. Trust me, they even renewed my term, though with very minimal engagement. And it was even my engagement in that committee that inspired me to write about that weapon systems and the use of AI. So it's very interconnected. The work you're doing as a shaper, the interest that you have. And the last thing I'll say is you might not find connection in your hub. Like your hub, all of you might not be thinking climate or thinking fashion or thinking politics or thinking, but you would find that collaboration in the entire Global Shapers community itself.
Great. Thanks. Thank you, Jake.
Thank you very much. I'm so sorry. I wish I could stay, Elzine, to listen to your session, but I'm happy it's recorded, so I'm going to catch up on that. And Princess, all the best. Thank you so much, Chimdi, and to everyone in the hub. It's been such an honor to contribute with you guys.
Thank you so much, Jake. Everybody saying thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jake.
Thank you, Jake.
Professor Jake.
Yes, indeed. Thank you. Bye. Have a good session. Okay. Okay, so with that being done, we would invite our next speaker, who is a very big celebrity from the Abuja Global Shapers. She is the immediate past curator of the hub, my dear sister and friend, Dr. Princess Ike. She is an outstanding optometrist. Well, if I should use the correct term, star optometrist, doing amazing work in Abuja, Nigeria, in terms of eye care. She's written several pieces on the World Economic Forum agenda on eye care and how it intersects with different things like climate and so on and so forth. She's done a fantastic job in the hub, and she's also, raised the bar in terms of what young people can do in the public health space. And she's someone that we're always proud to have as a member of the Abuja hub. And so we've invited her today to speak on something that she does excellently, which is, ideating for the forum agenda. And so she'll be speaking to us about her journey in this. She'll be sharing tips. She'll be, sharing how it has also shaped her career and opened certain doors for her. And so on that note, without further ado, let's welcome the star optometrist in our midst, Dr. Princess Ike. The floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chimdi.
Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Thanks to the curatorship of the Abuja Hub for this invitation. I would say when Jake was speaking, I was very happy that Jake spoke before me, because personally, I feel that me talking on this topic was because of I learned from Jake. So I was also very happy that he went before me. So I'll just try to make this as short as possible. So writing for the World Economic Forum agenda is not open to everybody. but reading articles from the World Economic Forum agenda is accessible to everyone. And this is one of the perks of being a global shaper. You being able to have that platform where you can also pitch your articles. Now, the World Economic Forum agenda, the main goal of the World Economic Forum agenda is basically to take some of the world's most important issues and make them accessible to everyone. Now, I'm going to share some brief do's and don'ts of what we tend to do when we are pitching for the World Economic Forum agenda. So on the do's list, one thing is make sure that whatever you're pitching to the World Economic Forum agenda has to be engaging. I remember when, and by engaging, I think it should appeal to the global audience. I remember when Chimdi reached out to me when her last article, immediately she shared the article with me. I was telling her, if they don't publish this article, let me know why. What she wrote about wasn't my field. It's something that personally, I don't think maybe I'm interested in it that well. But immediately I saw the article, I read through it, I was understanding, like I even told her that day, are you sure I'm not going to do another one? Let us submit like 2 or 3 sharp, because it was engaging from the beginning to the end. The next thing I would also like to talk about is make sure it is well written. If it is well written, it is well argued. If you're giving examples, even if it's something that happened in Nigeria or it's something that happened in Abuja, make it to be well argued in the sense that you also give similar cases of where this has happened or where this has not happened, but is meant to happen. So that there's that diverse view when someone else from your region is reading or going through that pitch. The next is it should be aimed at an intelligent reader. So just like the example I gave about Chimdi Zone, I'm not the area she wrote about is not like my area of interest majorly, but when I went through it, I don't have to be maybe a political person or maybe I don't know, but I don't have to be in that particular field to understand what she was trying to say. It was engaging, it made sense from the beginning to the end. And it's something that also should cut across everybody as far as they have the ability to comprehend whatever you're writing. So it's not a place to showcase whether you're an expert in quotes through professional jargon. So this brings me to the don'ts now. So if you're writing something, especially if it's in your niche area, personally for me, I think part of my own objective for writing for the World Forum agenda is on advocacy for eye health, which also comes into play for niche topics. And niche topics also have that disadvantages sometimes when you're trying to include professional jargons that not everyone can also relate to. So you have to try and strike a balance between your medical or professional jargon and also it being understandable to every other person that is going to read what you're writing. The next is PR. The World Economic Forum agenda is not the place for you to publish or advertise your company. So let's assume that Chimdi has a product that her company brought out. She can as well mention that, but also sharing other examples of similar products from other organizations. So it brings like that holistic view. Her own is inside already. So indirectly, she has marketed her product, but not that everything from the beginning to the end of the article is not talking about Chimdi's eye clinic, for example. It won't fly. Because if you want to do advertising, you know how much you're going to pay for that. Then do not try to repeat old articles. So it's also very important if you decide to write things under climate change, under artificial intelligence, future of work, the fourth industrial revolution, there's a place on the World Economic Forum agenda where you're going to see articles on that each area. It's also very important that you don't repeat what has been shared there already. You can obviously build upon some things that have been written, but not exactly replicating the same thing, just like how basically how research is done. You can do the same topic for research, but at least you should be outside Abuja, not like both of us are doing the same thing in Abuja, the same thing in Abuja, and all. Then one thing again is stories with narrow appeal wouldn't fly. And like I mentioned earlier, this is also something that comes to play with topics that are like maybe where you have your own niche. It shouldn't be something that maybe only a particular set of people should just understand. It should be something that even though it's a niche area, everybody, regardless of where they are, whether it's Africa or Europe, should have an idea of what you're trying to say. So your article shouldn't be only for the African continent, or it shouldn't be for, even if the topic talks about Africa, you can also make like distinctions and correlations with like the Western world. So it makes it to have that global appeal, and also gives like a broader audience. And this dimension, the World Economic Forum, I think at my last check, has the readership of over 5 million people every month. I think it shouldn't be more than that, but I think that was the last count I had. And you also have to know that because of the World Economic Forum is such a highly placed organization globally, whatever you're writing, I always advise people that reach out to me that they want to pitch articles, I always tell you, try to align with your area of expertise or experience. It gives you more, it gives you that authority, whether it's in information. So if you're giving out information, it gives you that sense of credibility, even when they're also reviewing your articles, when the editors are reviewing your articles, because you know that you have, because they're also going to check, that is the funny thing, they're also going to check your time, your Toplink profile, because when you're pitching for the World Economic Forum agenda, part of the organizations that you're going to be affiliated to is going to be the Global Shepherds community. So obviously they're going to verify if you're from the Global Shepherds community, and they look at your profile. So if you're talking about maybe climate change, or you're talking about healthcare, you're talking about artificial intelligence, it's best to show that you have some kind of expertise or experience in that area. And this also brings me to collaboration. So even if you don't have the required knowledge or expertise in that area, you can collaborate with somebody that has that expertise or that knowledge in that particular area. And at least if you're having, so to say, a back and forth. I remember in 2020 when I pitched to write on COVID-19 and eye care, the editor, at that point, I felt like maybe the editor didn't like me or something, because we had a back and forth. It was just like as if I was defending a project. So I had to give like instances, I had to like give reasons why this topic should fly, the implications to healthcare, why it should. So imagine if that wasn't my space, maybe I would have zoned out from that conversation, and that article wouldn't have been published at the end of the day. So I'll just go briefly to talk about the personal benefits of publishing for the World Economic Forum agenda. The first is global exposure. I think this cannot be overemphasized. Your work is seen by a global audience, including influential policymakers, academics, business leaders, and it enhances your credibility and reputation. The second thing I also like to talk about is networking opportunities. Personally, for me, like I mentioned, my articles being tied to eye care has made it possible for me to be able to reach out to anyone in the eye care space globally if I want to have anything done. And that brings me to an article that I wrote last year, I think January or February, where I wrote with Professor Conrad Effoduh, who is a professor from Australia. Now, he's the #1 optometrist researcher in the world in terms of H index and citations. And when I was reaching out to him, so just like when Jake was talking, when I was reaching out to him on the possibility of a collaboration, what was my, like the only thing I used to like say maybe like get to him was, I gave him that impression of I had published in the World Economic Forum agenda. And obviously he had not published in the World Economic Forum agenda, even though he was #1 in the world in terms of H index and citations. So I gave that article, right? So I just listed the article that had published for the World Economic Forum agenda, and that was it. So it's just like, you have seen what I've published. So whether you think I'm working with the editor behind the scene, no, I showed you that I have published, and both of us, we can collaborate as well to publish. So for my own self, it's also pretty much, for him, I won't say is to build his reputation, because his reputation has been built already globally, but it's also using him to also build my own reputation in my professional career. So that went off, and immediately that went off and all. I think that was shortly after I got the iHealth Hero Award, the youngest in Nigeria. Then I also got like other, I was made National Advocacy Secretary for my association in Nigeria. So pretty much just open. So everybody was just like, so if you can publish with this man, what happened? How did you meet him? Come and give me this, blah, 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 and all. But it was just basically because I had had a publication that had published for the World Economic Forum agenda. The third is expertise recognition. I think this is already tied with what I just spoke about publishing. So when you publish with the World Economic Forum, especially when it's your field or your expertise, The recognition could open doors for speaking engagements, for consulting. And that will also bring me to another testimonial I had earlier. Can you hear me? Okay. So that also brings me to another testimonial I had earlier this year. Earlier this year, I wrote an article about the effect of climate change on eye care. And I think that has been the shortest response time I have gotten, or anyone has gotten, from the World Economic Forum agenda after they pitched their topic. And that was because I think the topic appealed to them very well. So I got a response time of less than an hour. So if you have pitched the World Economic Forum before, it could take maybe 3 days, it could take 1 week, it could take 2 weeks, but less than an hour. I was surprised when I saw that response. And shortly after, the community manager raised her. So the Association of UK Optometrists saw the article and reached out to the forum contact, who is Racer, to connect her with me. So Racer did that connection, and I had an interview with the Association of UK Optometrists. I am not in UK, I am not practicing in UK, but they had to reach out just because of that particular article where I wrote about climate change and eye care. That same article, I was also reached out again by the International Agency for Prevention of Blindness to give them kind of like a paraphrased article on that same topic for them to publish on their blog. That same article pretty much helped me in terms of when I also wanted to get another speaking engagement where I needed to enter like an international thing. So that particular, just one article, and less than a month after, I just casually opened my like my profile where I like, for everybody that publishes for the World Economic Forum agenda, you're going to have like your profile where you can see list of things they have contributed to the World Economic Forum. Casually, I opened it and I saw that that particular article has been replicated in Chinese and Japanese. So when I asked questions and all, they found that particular article to be engaging and all. And shortly after, I applied for the annual meeting of Youth Champions, which was in China. So when I made that post in particular, the post, even like in other groups where they had Japanese and Chinese shippers, they made reference to that they had seen that my article and all, and that they loved it, and pretty much that was the story at that time. The next is, I'll talk about career advancement. Pitching for the World Economic Forum agenda helps you when it comes to career advancement, especially if you're focused on a particular niche. Next thing I would like to talk about, but not the least, is personal growth. There's something about publishing for the World Economic Forum agenda. It makes it like how, okay, publishing for the World Economic Forum agenda challenges you to think critically and communicate your thoughts effectively. And because of this era of AI and all, you also have to be wary about chat, G, I can't even chat, whatever, and AI. So in quotes, it has made writing easier, but don't be tempted to use that to write articles for the World Economic Forum agenda. They are going, definitely, you trust them to obviously see that. And once they see that, they are going to just flag any article you're bringing. They'll be telling you, thank you, but we cannot submit this piece at this time. Because I've had somebody that had that same issue, and the person reached out to me, and I said, say the truth, what did you use to generate? And the person answered, and I said, it's going to be very difficult for you, especially maybe like, at least maybe like this time, to publish an article, because they already have that notion that whatever you're now bringing, they'll just like flag your email address and flag whatever you're writing. So it's also very important for personal growth. Whatever you're writing for the World Economic Forum agenda should be something that you thought it through, and or you could also space it and also share with somebody that you feel has written for the World Economic Forum agenda to also help you review. In the hub, we have so many people that have written for the World Economic Forum agenda. There's Chimbi there, Jake is there, Mutala is there, so many Chime. There are so many people that you can share your draft articles with to help you to read, and they can also offer valuable insight because they have gone through that process, even if it is once. For words of encouragement, I always advise persistence. Persistence pays off. So in as much as even though when Chindu was introducing me, she was trying to wash my brain, but so if I have maybe 7 articles published by the World Economic Forum agenda, I have similar amounts of articles that were also rejected by the World Economic Forum agenda. So pitching to the World Economic Forum agenda once or twice, and if they reject it, doesn't mean that your thoughts is not good enough for the World Economic Forum agenda. It could be that at that time is not what they want to publish, because most times they also have what they want to publish based on events and meetings. So don't be discouraged and say, World Economic Forum, they don't like my pitch, because I had that mentality from when I was studying, because when I went through I didn't say anything about IKEA. And when that editor was giving that back and forth, I was saying, like, these people have an agenda here or something. You don't want to publish. Don't have that mindset of if you apply once. And this also comes into play when you apply when you apply for World Economic Forum event as well. I see people that they'll say they applied once, I'm not going to apply again. Anything about the World Economic Forum, you should know is highly competitive, whether it's in events, whether it's in writing articles. You don't give up. You just keep doing, whether it's your keep writing or keep applying. The second is collaborate with others that share the same idea and passion as yourself. I think I can't overemphasize this enough. If you feel you want to write on a niche topic, even if it's in your own area of expertise, you can also make room for collaboration as well. The third will be stay informed on wealth priorities and tailor your articles towards that. For global shapers, the easiest is to just make sure your whatever you're writing ties towards the impact areas of the global shapers community in one way or the other. Then also seek feedback. Seeking feedback doesn't mean you're not confident in what you're writing, but by all means, if you feel you're confident in what you have written and you don't need a second validation, you can also go ahead and submit your articles. But there's no harm in seeking feedback, especially if you're a first-time writer or feature for the World Economic Forum agenda. And last but not the least, be patient with yourself and try to celebrate your small wins. So when I mean by small wins for this article is, don't wait until the World Economic Forum agenda publishes your article before you make a Toplink post or a LinkedIn post about your publication. So even if you have been published by small local institutions in your country, whether it's Punch newspaper, whether it's Princess newspaper that nobody knows about, make sure you also put that out there. Because even when people or anybody randomly, when they want to see what you have written, all this, both the local, the regional, and the international one is also going to play a part in that. With this, I think I'll end here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And now you all can see why she's the star optometrist. Thank you so much, Princess. That was amazing. And we definitely were taking notes, and we look forward to practicing all that you've shared with us today. You're a true testament to what being active in the community, publishing on the agenda can do in terms of shaping your career progression. So I just want to encourage as many people on the call to please action these things that she has said. They are true, they are real, they work. So please, exactly, they are tried and tested. So please, also give it a shot. Thank you so much. Elzine, if you don't mind, can we just take any questions for Princess so that people don't maybe forget before we come back for your own segment? Oh, look at you motivating people, Princess. Miriam Therese says, thank you. I am motivated. Wonderful. So do we have any questions here physically? So we have a physical audience here for those who are just joining in. And then the virtual audience, does anyone have any questions for Princess? Okay. So I believe you were very explanatory and everybody. Oh, okay, good. We have a question in the chat box. So Blessing says, thank you, Princess. Exclamation, exclamation, exclamation. Did you suggest to post some of your local publications on top? Oh, yeah. Did you suggest to post some of your local publications on Toplink too?
Thank you, Blessing and Miriam Therese. Yes, I would suggest that as well, especially if it is something that obviously is tied to the wealth priorities or one of the impact areas of the global shapers community. By all means, please share. Even people go as far as even sharing just Medium posts. So please go ahead and share that.
Thank you, Princess. Does anyone have any other questions before we go into the final presentation by Elzine? Okay. Going once, going twice, and gone. Thank you so much, Princess. I'm sure if anyone has any questions, they'll probably leave it in the chat box or contact us and we can share with you later on. Before we just move into the next segment, I want to appreciate and recognize some other shapers from other hubs who have joined in today. I see the curator of Enugu Hub, Ibie Esther. Thank you for joining. I see the impact officer, my dear sister, Chimdi Oji, you're welcome. I see Gerald from the Window Egg Hub, who was also very strategic in terms of facilitating Elzine's participation today. You're welcome. Thank you for joining us. I see Ademola from Ibadan Hub. I see Tolu Lokpe and so many other people. Thank you all for joining this session. We're glad to have you all here. So on this note, I would like to welcome our next speaker, Elzine, who I would allow David, our vice curator, to read her profile. And I'll say we're very delighted that you could make it today. So David, over to you.
Okay. Thank you, Chimdi.
Of course.
Alrighty. So just a little bit about Elzine. Elzine is the founder of Impact Tank. It's based out of Namibia and Zurich. She has extensive experience in the financial services and oil and gas sectors in the African continent. She brings a professional background in strategy and transformation from her work in Africa and Europe. Most recently, she founded Impact Tank, Namibia's first social impact venture builder, building new commercially viable businesses that solve social issues. Okay, that solve social issues. Okay. Oh, okay, I see.
Go ahead. Just go ahead.
Okay, that solve social issues. And she holds various board seats in private equity and mining. She's based between Windhoek, Namibia and Zurich, Switzerland. She holds a Bachelor's of Commerce degree in finance, a Bachelor of Commerce degree in industrial psychology, a Master's of Business Leadership degree, and a Master of Science in digital infrastructure. So we are extremely honored to have a multi-hyphenate, multi-potentialite, all the multis. Thank you so much for joining us, Elzine, and over to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. I absolutely love the Global Shapers community and, all the nuggets I've received from Dr. Princess and of course from Jake. I felt like I wanted to be on Toplink, right? But I know, unfortunately, I probably don't qualify in age. Unfortunately not. But I think, if we're just taking from Dr. Princess's work as well as what Jake has taught us, I'll get into some design thinking because I think we probably need some content to write about and generate. And I think design thinking is probably a very good way in which we can generate some ideas together. If you can hear me, just a thumbs up. Okay, perfect. I'll get started then. Right. So this morning, this evening, I'm going to chat about design thinking and tell you all about this methodology that we see as a non-linear process. Whenever people think about design thinking, it's always this pie in the sky, airy-fairy. But today, I really want us to get to the bottom of it and demystify what it is. It really is just a non-linear, iterative process that we use to ideate and design some stuff. A little bit about me. I think David's already said that. I was born in Namibia, raised in the UK, and now I commute between Zurich and Windhoek. And of course, I run Impact Tank now, a social impact venture builder. But I think before we get started, or rather let's get started with some design thinking exercises. I think everybody knows this to be a paperclip. Can we take 1 minute and in the chat, write down as many uses for a paperclip that we can think of, or just say them out loud? We have 1 minute. I'll set the timer. Anybody? Holding paper together without punching holes. I love it. Serve as an alternative for a cloth pin. I love it. We've got 50 more seconds. Making a funny animal shape. I do that all the time. Jewelry. Nice, nice. Any others? We got 30 seconds. Teaching kids colors. Yeah, exactly that. Sixteen seconds. Holding paper together. Seven. Oh, timer. So we've got 7 uses for a paperclip. But I actually am going to challenge you and say that there are 21 different uses for paperclips. And here we can see smartphone mount, emergency hem repairs, cleaning out your computer, a fish hook, an egg dipper, a letter opener, a hairpin. And that's really, the first exercise into design thinking. It's to just start gauging our thoughts around using existing products and services and trying to ideate new solutions, new interventions, and of course, new uses for existing stuff. Okay, so again, we'll get back into what design thinking was. Thank you everyone for taking part. Design thinking is this 5-step approach, right? Where we empathize, we define a problem, we ideate solutions, we prototype this intervention, and then of course we validate and test. During empathizing, we're very much trying to understand the goals and the challenges, the motivations of a specific user, sort of why are they doing the things that they're doing. During the define phase, we're really trying to understand defining the problem. In the ideate stage, we're ideating specific solution. Prototyping allows us to build out a minimum viable product, whether that's through tech, and then validating. Sorry, I think it's non-quad. Do you mind going? Okay. And then, of course, validating. And I think maybe the design thinking has just got her very excited. She wanted to chip in at this stage. Right. But then again, I'd like to remind us that design thinking is not a linear process, right? So when you start at empathizing, you could go straight to ideation. And then from ideation, you can go back to empathizing. So it's really the cycle of different steps that you're going through in order to ultimately get to your specific solution, your product, or your service delivered, or really just to solve a specific problem. If we go into some ideation basics, what is ideation? Of course, it's just this manner in which we creatively generate and communicate new ideas. Why do we ideate? I think the first thing is to solve problems, to better understand people, to develop new products, to fuel innovation, and of course, to uncover opportunities. Who normally ideates? I believe everyone on earth ideates in every day of our lives. We just don't realize we're ideating solutions. When you're deciding what to wear in the morning, you're ideating, you're deciding, you're evaluating options based on the weather, based on where you're going, based on the distance you have to travel. And for all the ladies on the call, you sort of decide whether you're going to wear high heels or not, depending on who's going to be there, who's not going to be there. That's all about ideating and evaluating your options. So how do we ideate? Multiple ways: brainstorming, sketching, discussing, collaborating. And this is very much what I appeal to the Global Shaper community. So when you are designing your projects or you're designing sort of parts of your hubs, brainstorm, sketch it out, discuss, collaborate. There are specific frameworks that I'll take us through to make this ideation process a little bit easier going forward. Okay, so the ideation process, I've slimmed it down to these 4 components. Defining the problem, that's really discovering and defining. Brainstorming, that's when you're generating options. Idea evaluation, that's when you're developing the solution. And then idea selection is when you're ultimately delivering and choosing the best viable product. So let's go to a real world example very quickly. At Impact Tank, we have a project called Farm Fresh. And what we did was we took Farm Fresh through this 4-step approach of ideation. The first layer of Farm Fresh, we defined a problem where we saw that Namibian smallholder farmers are currently locked out of the local market. Consumers in small towns face high pricing and limited variety. Namibia currently imports between 50 and 80% of its horticultural needs, despite smallholder farmers who are more than capable of satisfying the local market. And in addition to that, smallholder farmers don't have access to retail, so they don't have access to markets. So we really framed the problem here as a team. You literally, so when you're busy planning some projects and solutions for your hubs, first define the problem, understand the economic context, understand who is most affected by it, who does the problem, who's going to be the potential solver of this problem, why do we need this specifically solved? But that's really what we define, 2 things. 80% of horticultural products are imported in Namibia, and smallholder farmers don't have access to retail. So then we started brainstorming. So we started looking at the entire smallholder farmer value chain, right? We started looking at the production side. What do we need to do to assist access to retail and a reduction in imports? And we started looking at what can we do from a production side? What could we do from a transport side? So why are smallholder farmer goods not in shops? And we realized that it's because of transport. So when we started brainstorming and generating solutions, we're looking at, okay, what can we do from a transport perspective? What could we do from a grading and dispatch? What do we look at from retail and distribution? Because we really want to solve those 2 problems, right? The 80% horticultural imports and the smallholder farmers not having any access to markets. So we started brainstorming around that. Of course, then the 3rd step we go into is idea evaluation, where we start developing a specific solution. So we realize that the solution has to entail some form of growing or assistance with growing, because we see that there is a challenge with the smallholder farmers and the imports. Then we look at harvesting. So what are the problems associated to specific harvesting and getting these smallholder farmer goods into markets? We go into supply and logistics. So really at this stage, we really are just evaluating specific solutions and trying to understand how you can put different puzzle pieces together to fit that. Of course, finally, idea selection. We decided on an app that would assist farmers to manage their crops, and that really speaks to the production side. The app would solve the challenge for retail, because then now we can allow retailers to order and receive supply chain and buy online. We looked at back office, so the app can really assist with logistics, finance, and strategies for smallholder farmers. Field operations, because now we're able to register specific smallholder farmers onto a database, and we can manage their growing cycles and their crop cycles. And then, of course, specifically consumers, right? Now consumers can download the app or use the web browser to buy and purchase their specific horticultural products. And that's how we use design thinking to actually build out a successful business. And I think, for global shapers that are always starting projects in different thematic areas and they're launching interventions, I really urge you to use these 4 thoughts. I think perhaps we go into your turn and we go through a simple exercise together where we define a problem, we brainstorm, we evaluate some ideas, and then we ultimately select a solution. So let's ask ourselves, what are the challenges you're facing every day, or how do we go about starting a specific business? I'm going to stop sharing my screen at this stage so that we can have a little bit more interaction. So let us define a problem quickly together. Within the market, in the context, it's free for all, open. Agriculture, climate, education. Maybe everybody can go off mute so that we can just have a quick fire round as well.
Okay.
So I think maybe to make it tidier, if you would like to speak, please raise your hand.
Yeah.
So we can just like go around quickly.
We also have some suggestions from here.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
So I was saying that there aren't enough hours in the day. No matter how early you wake up, how late you go back to sleep, you need to sleep, and there's always so much to do with just not enough time to manage the number of things that we have to do on a daily basis.
Okay, so is our problem time?
How do you fix that?
Time management.
Yeah.
Time management.
Yeah, it's time management. Yeah, it is.
So, I mean, let's talk about defining it a little bit more, you know, more narrowly for us. What is the actual challenge with time management? Is it scope of work? Is it and feel free to type it in the chat as well. If David's on mute, I can't hear you.
Oh no, I was about to type.
Oh, okay. So I think now we're defining our problem. We're discovering what the challenges are. It seems to be there isn't enough time in a day, traffic and commuting. All the other activities that are shapers, there's just too much going on. Power challenges, security, I love that. Okay, so I think then let's move into stage 2 of brainstorming. Let's intention to get many things done, access to quality education, intention to get many things done with fear of not allowing anything to slip off. Oof, preach, that's pressure. Absolutely. So, I mean, let's start generating some options, right? What do solutions look like? Because we have a defined variable on one side, right? We're not trying to raise a business. Nobody's ever going to have more than 24 hours unless sort of Elon Musk or somebody does something crazy. But I don't believe. So what are some stuff that we can start doing? Scheduling, perhaps. I think one of the stuff in managing time better is scheduling, prioritization matrices. It's easier said than done. I think we can all agree, right? We wake up in the morning, we have a plan, we have a calendar, we have meetings, and then the day just goes left. I'm not talking too much. Okay, thank you, Gerald. Maybe that's a hint to me.
No, it's taking on too much.
Oh, okay, sorry. Oh, you were quick with it. He said, I have to correct this. Yes, absolutely not taking on too much, but it's very difficult. Because I think, shapers are still at different parts of their careers where you're still sort of trying to prove yourself on one hand and trying to still be a whole human on the other side. And that elusive world called balance almost doesn't exist. It's a Saturday evening and we're online. That tells me enough about the shaper community. Well done to you. Okay, any other sort of ways in which we can manage time? Perhaps live closer to your center of gravity, try to move that, minimizing antibiotics misuse. Okay.
I think maybe for time you could just like segment tasks by day. So like plan weeks ahead of time. In advance, maybe like just break your tasks into smaller bits and pieces and just spread them across a week. So maybe you're just doing one thing per day or two things per day to seem less overwhelmed. Yeah, and if that counts.
Yeah. If it's possible, living closer to where you work to reduce some traffic commutes, perhaps moving a lot of meetings virtually, so that you're not moving around because travel is tiring. So these are just sort of, options we're generating. If we move into evaluating these ideas, what is not feasible? Perhaps moving closer to work is probably the least feasible at this stage, right? It's got a cost variable attached to it. There are other people dependent on where you live, especially if you have a spouse and kids. So you can't just up and move. So really here, you're just sort of looking at why can't this work versus why can this work at this stage. But I think scheduling, as you said, David, is probably the easiest way to go about that. I mean, the other day I was speaking to somebody and they said to me, oh, I think October of 2024, I will be in Equatorial Guinea. I said, October of 2024? Like, fam, we have not even gotten to October of 2023. So, I mean, I really hope we all get to that level of planning. But I mean, it's really not possible. And then, of course, the last phase really is when we select a specific idea where we say, okay, we're going to rework our entire schedule for the next 3 months. We're going to drop off who's prioritized, who's important, who isn't. All right, a list of 1 to 10. What goals do we want to achieve? Losing weight, making more money, being happy. I mean, let's start with being happy first, then making more money, doing what we need to do.
No, that's
making more money can make you happy.
I like that. Absolutely, absolutely. We're tied in first place. And that's really sort of how we go about just reframing and putting some structure to how we're thinking and solving specific problems, designing interventions. And then I think specifically, I'm just going to reshare my screen because the framework that I absolutely love using is the Scamper. So really, it helps you innovate an existing product or service by looking through different lenses. And this is an acronym for substitute, combine, adapt, modify, put to another use, eliminate, and rearrange. So you really take a problem or an existing product or service, and you just run it through these 7 questions. So under substitution, what can I substitute so as to make an improvement to the specific? At combinations, what other materials can I add to this existing product? During adaptation, which part of the product can I change? Can I change the characteristics of a specific component? At modification, what can I magnify or make larger? What can I tone down, delete? Put to another use? What else can it be used for? How would people with different physical abilities use the specific product solution that I have? Elimination, what can I remove without altering the core function? And then rearranging is what can I rearrange in some way that really allows it. And I think this really is a brilliant framework that we could use in our everyday life. I mean, you don't have to use all 7 every time. Maybe you just start with elimination or combinations, because I think as shapers, you're probably building a lot. And often the products and solutions, and they already exist, but they don't exist together. And I think that's really what makes solutions and new products. Because sometimes I get so angry when I see new innovations, not angry in a bad way, but angry in a good way. When you're like, really? You put 1 and 1 together and you got that? And sometimes it's the simplest of stuff when you say, hey, wait a minute, maybe we can add a plastic bottle and a book and get crayons, or, you know, whatever it is on that side. So just use that, or think about that scamper methodology at the back of your head. What can you eliminate from your everyday life? What do you need to modify? And that really goes from personal development, your career, all the way through product development and solution designing. That's me. That's who I am for the day. If there are any questions, I'm happy to take them now.
Thank you so much, Elzine. So like she mentioned, if you have any questions, feel free to type them in the chat box, or you can unmute and speak. Yeah, so I think we can do this within 5 minutes. Anyone?
They just loved it so much, there's no questions.
Honestly.
No problem. At least we'll still share. I think we can get the slides from you, Elzine, if that's okay. Yeah, and then we can still share them across, and people can rewatch. So, still holding space. Any questions? No. In trouble. Okay, no problem. So thank you so much, Elzine. We truly appreciate you making the time. You spoke about making time and who to eliminate. So thank you for not eliminating from your to-do list. So thank you. We feel valued and honored that you are here with us today. Thank you so much. And we hope to have you at future events as well. So thank you. I will hand over to Chimney.
Thank you so much. Elzine, like David has said, we're so grateful that you were able to make it and you did not cut us off. But we would look forward to inviting you again and again for, you know, different programs and projects, because what you've spoken about is something that is really important to everybody who is some sort of project manager or ideator. So we are glad that at least we have you in our circle now. At this point, I'll just thank everybody that's tuned in. Thank you also, Princess, once again for joining in and for sharing all those nuggets. Thank you to all the shapers from different hubs for joining us today. We look forward to more sessions that we can collaborate on. I think in Scamper, the C was collaborate or combine, right? So well, we look forward to having more combinations even within the GSC community, collaborating with one another to improve our capacity as individual hubs, but also as a larger community. So on that note, we'll say once again, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Everybody have a lovely evening. Please go and do something fun. Let your hair down and enjoy the rest of your weekend. And wishing you a wonderful week ahead as well.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.